Alright, so following up with some more Final Fantasy V love, we have the release of the Man of the Void himself, who believes nothing deserves to be alive, Exdeath, following with the EX Plus realization of Gilgamesh. Gilgamesh did not receive any more touch-ups, as he received a rework and level 70 awakening prior to this release, but both these big beefy boys are coming in pretty okay. Gilgamesh more so than Exdeath, but we'll talk about it. So let's actually get Gilgamesh out of the way. So, for whatever reason, this man's fucking EX just evades me. I don't know why. Like, I had to use every last resource that I had, which, by the way, don't do that. And I was just able to pull away with Exdeath's EX at my 30th ticket mark. Like, meaning I had 30 tickets left before I was able to get Exdeath's EX. And I had 240 tickets and 35k gems. I'm clean right now. Like, I'm out. And this man's EX, I don't know what it is about it. It just continues to evade me. Even when he first dropped, I dropped like, 30k gems and like 150 something tickets trying to get him. Like, and the worst part is he's not even that good. I don't get it, game. Why? Anyway, so Gilgamesh got an EX realization, pretty much just giving him access to AoE hits, 9 hits at 3 out of 3. He starts out with 4 stacks of Man of the Big Bridge at the beginning of the quest, an attack and max brave up, raring to go, as well as 50% splash damage, as well as a hefty max and HP, max and attack boost from his first limit break, which is pretty nice. That's literally all he got, and it's just enough to make Gilgamesh usable in the Chaos Era. And I mean, like, just enough, because having the ability to start out with 4 stacks of Man of the Big Bridge is actually really nice. That does help out Gilgamesh a lot, because it gets him going quicker, and now his EX will actually give him access to getting stacks of Man of the Big Bridge and once it's used. So when Man of the Big Bridge actually goes away, man, that's getting harder and harder for me to say. When it actually goes away, you'll actually have more means of getting it back up sooner. Now, Gilgamesh does still have the issue where he does lose out on that and does have to continue to reset over and over and over constantly, but at least he's able to do it a little more consistently in order to, you know, pretty much just keep up the damage he's supposed to be doing. On top of that, with some nifty little debuffs, the melee imperil being one specifically, although his debuffs do last a short amount of time, being able to have access to everything and pretty much at the beginning of the quest and start up sooner, and getting access to all this stuff to get him to his most powerful forms of his abilities much quicker is actually a big plus to Gilgamesh and his kit. Now, does this make him important for the Chaos Era? Absolutely not. Gilgamesh is still outclassed, and this is just not doing too much for him, albeit a good realization that does help him out a lot. His kit still needs a lot of work in order to be important for the Chaos Era, because I do think Gilgamesh can be used. I do think that, but he does need he does need quite a lot of assistance in order to make sure that you're utilizing him at his utmost potential. So it's definitely a no on Gilgamesh, definitely a safe pass. If you do choose to build up Gilgamesh, though, however, you could safely stop at 2 out of 3, because you just want access to all the stuff at the beginning of the quest. Like, that's really what you want. But if you want to capitalize on damage and, you know, make sure he's performing at his best, obviously 3 out of 3 is the way to go. Now let's move on to the other big boy, who I can't wait to run alongside of Golbez and Garland to make the big boy trio. Exdeath premieres to us as probably one of the more unique characters that we have seen thus far. Exdeath's biggest way of attacking is through all gravity damage and brave raises, which are all based off of his attack, so you want to get that up nice and high. So this leaves him out of the capability to ever break a target. The only time that Exdeath can actually break a target is when you use his Brave Attack Plus. Everything else is gravity and brave raises, so you actually cannot break them. So that does hinder him a bit. He is very helpful for bosses that like to get exuberant amounts of brave. I'm pretty sure that's how you say that word. He is very helpful for that, as well as so Gilgamesh, oh my goodness, Exdeath is that kind of character who is not late chaos ready, but a glimpse of what is to come for late chaos. If you take a look at his kit, everything on his kit is AoE. His first skill has splash, his second skill has really powerful split, because just how high he actually raises brave. And Grand Cross is 100% AoE, which is the ZX, by the way. Now, when we get to the point where late chaos is coming, a lot of characters are going to have this kind of splash and split where you're like, doesn't make too much sense because you aren't really hitting them, but hey, whatever, we'll take it. That's the kind of kit that Exdeath has, and every time I look at it, I think about that. Albeit while he's not a late chaos character by any means, and that's just what I end up thinking about. He has some pretty nice and tasty debuffs, one of which being if his frame debuff is stacked at 3 out of 3, he'll actually then be able to apply a debuff with his EX that will actually mitigate all HP damage to 0 and reduce the target's break to 0 at the end of their turn, which is really cool. I like that a lot. He gets a Brace Sap applied there, an attack and speed down. He also gets an HP Sap, which is based off of his attack stat, which is really cool. I like that. I like I always see calling him Gilgamesh. We were just doing him, that's why. Exdeath has a really cool kit to him that I like a lot, and he has plenty of means of giving himself HP regen, brave regen. The only form of utility he has to the party, though, however, is with his EX, and that's only at 3 out of 3 where it actually batteries the party up, as well as himself. That is literally the only utility that Exdeath actually has that goes to the party. You know, outside of his debuffs and everything, he offers no auras, no nothing. Literally, he's just debuff and then damage. And Exdeath can supply a lot of good damage. So, with all of this said, how is Exdeath for the Chaos era? I do believe Exdeath is an interesting one. Honestly, like I said before, he has by far one of the most unique kits in the game. But it is safe to say that is probably one of his biggest cons. Well, his biggest con is the fact that he cannot break targets. And without that ability to break targets, you might find yourself in a situation where you really need that break. And Exdeath is the one who's gonna have to try and do it, but he can't unless they're low enough for his brave attack to do something about it. You see what I mean? It is rather unfortunate, but at the same time unique and different. So it's like, what makes Exdeath so good is that he's situational for the really high max bravey kind of bosses. Like, you know, his own Lost Chapters, his own event, and other events like that. Like Beatrix's event. Like, this man slaps that shit in half. Like, bosses that get that high max brave, that's where this man shines. And he has a lot of AoE options to do good damage, and so on and so forth. And the really cool thing about Exdeath is his entire kit is magic. But because he's actually not performing any hits on the target whatsoever, you could actually bring him to bosses that resist magic. That is really cool. I like that a lot. That is actually super cool. So Exdeath is actually can be considered one of these all-around kind of characters that you could bring to any field. Now, obviously, that's gonna, you know, they got to mitigate that just a bit, which is why, you know, he's as situational as he is. But that's still really cool. Every time I look at this character, I think, damn, I love this kit. It's so much fun. And don't worry, this man will be 3 out of 3 on everything, you know, once I get the grinding. But goddamn, is this man is a fun character. Is he important for the Chaos era, though? No, not really, unfortunately. Albeit probably one of the more fun magic DPS units that we'll have. He just doesn't fit the bill, and he will get outclassed pretty quickly when it comes to specific DPS units. But he's definitely a lot of fun and actually has really good use for certain bosses. So make sure you keep that in mind. Definitely 3 out of 3 him, because the abilities that he gets out of the 3 out of 3 and the potency increases and everything is just phenomenal. Did you like my Porky the Pig impression there before? Abilities? So anyways, guys, that'll pretty much do it for me on this one. This banner is a safe pass. What I can say, I am very happy that Gilgamesh's EX realization is not as bad as I was thinking it was going to be. It actually gives him some usability in the Chaos era if you are so willing to give him a shot. This is a safe pass of a banner, but if these characters are your favorite, or if you are looking for 2 fun units, this banner is definitely then for you. Just don't go too deep. Don't go too crazy like I did. I don't regret it. I don't regret it one bit, because I will be using Exdeath a lot. But just don't do me. Don't be me. Don't ever be me. That's the best advice I could give to anyone. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you guys have luck with your Exdeath and Gilgamesh pulls if you are choosing to pull on this banner. And that'll do it for me. Thanks you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one.